Welcome back to Vikings basketball with head coach Barret Peery. As the Vikings are home once again this Thursday night, they will host first place University of Montana. Portland State getting a home game this week. Coach came back from the road again. It's nice, the Big Sky, every couple of weeks they let you come home and wash your underwear and get right back out on the road. So we get the single game and then a couple more road games next week.
Yeah, we're excited to be home. It seems like we haven't had many home games, even though we've complained about that a lot, but we are excited to be home. We got a great opponent in Montana on Thursday.
And it's going to be a very exciting night here. Going to try to get the students into the pavilion and get a good raucous crowd. Last year, of course, the Vikings beat Montana here at the pavilion and swept them, in fact, last season when they won the Big Sky. Now, Portland State played at Montana a few weeks ago. You had a close game until kind of down the stretch. The Griz shot the ball really well, 60% in that game, and kind of pulled away for the victory. How do you evaluate Montana and what the Vikings need to do going into this Thursday's game?
Yeah, give Montana a lot of credit for that night. You know, we went into that game, that was the fourth game in 8 days, and we got to about that 8-minute mark, and I think we had maybe a 2 or 4 point game with about 8 or 10 minutes to go. And it's the first time I thought we ran out of gas all year long, and I feared that a little bit last weekend in that fourth game in 8 days with NAU. But give Montana credit. You know, when we played them a few weeks ago, we didn't have Sal, we didn't have Matt, so it was kind of a unique situation. You know, Sal had gotten sick the night before, and we weren't able to use him at all that night, and then Matt was home with his ankle, which he was last week as well. But Montana's playing great ball. You know, Montana really knows who they are right now. Their identity is really good, how they defend, and then the right guys are getting the right shots, so I respect what they're doing. And, you know, the league every night is a tough game.
And you bring up Sal Nuhu, and he's finally back and fully healthy probably for the first time all year and playing great basketball. 3 double-doubles in a row. Played really well on the road trip this past weekend despite a couple of losses for the Vikings, but he was really kind of your key guy. And how might he impact that game with Montana?
Yeah, well, you need Sal no matter what, no matter who you play, but we missed him against Montana. You know, I think Sal, you said it, you know, these last 3 games he's had a double-double, but he looks like the old Sal after coming back off that major injury where he missed a month. I think he's got his confidence back, and we're seeing Sal above the rim again. You know, Sal's healthy, his body's feeling good, and he's that Sal that we've all, you know, fell in love with as far as his activity, blocking shots, running, getting on the glass. He's rebounding balls above the rim, you know, finishing above the rim and changing a lot of shots. So he looks like his old self, you know, the guy that you and I talked about all summer.
And now as we look at the schedule, and we've talked a lot about it, and for the simple reason that the Vikings are the lone wolf this year in the Big Sky Conference, so the schedule's very unusual for us. Haven't had one like this before in Big Sky play. Portland State is halfway through. 10 games, they played those 10 games in 29 days. Now, starting this week against Montana, they'll play the second 10 games in 42 days. So after Montana, the Vikings actually with 8 days off. There's some big gaps in there, a little more time to rest. Is that going to make a difference for your team, getting that additional rest?
Yeah, I think so, especially with, you know, the people that have been banged up. You know, Boo Boo's another guy that comes to mind with that. When Hauser's been out these last 6 games, he's had to really play extended minutes, and practice has been hard for him. But practice for our whole team has been difficult, you know, trying to figure out how hard to go and what we should do when we're evaluating our bodies and how much we should actually use them. So I'm excited to get on a normal basketball schedule. I don't know how else to say it, but a much more normal schedule where you can practice and spend time leading up to a game. Felt like we couldn't spend time leading up to many games because it was just another game, another game, another scouting report, another walkthrough, more film. And, you know, I didn't feel like we got to work on us very much this month. So I'm looking forward to this next few weeks on doing it more normal and more traditional and trying to get things squared away. You know, you look at our record right now, 4-6 in the league. We had 4 at home and 6 on the road. So if you do the math, we kind of held serve at home and didn't break through on the road, even though we did. But I like where we're at. I like who our guys are right now, and I think they have a good mentality for this second round.
And maybe one of the things people don't evaluate when they think about how many games and how many days, everybody looks at professional basketball, and those guys are playing lots of games, but they're not going to school every day, and they're not going to practices doing all those things that they have to do. That's all they're doing because that's their profession. So these young guys have a little extra burden because they have basically 2 lives going on.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of bad bus rides or commercial flights on Southwest with the NBA guys. So as as you look at that, you know, I was doing the numbers a little bit, that we didn't have 3 days off between any games. You know, it was 2.8. And, you know, usually when you prepare for games, especially if it's, you know, Thursday, Saturday type stuff, you usually think Monday is this, Tuesday is this, Wednesday is this, and then play. And we just haven't had many traditional weeks since before Christmas. And so, like I said, the guys have really weathered the storm well, and they got back in school doing what they're doing. And, yeah, I'm excited for a normal calendar.
All right, and let's take one last evaluation of your team as we go into this game. We look at last week's games. Portland State losing 2 on the road, losing 1 by 2 points, and we learned how slim the margin of error is in the Big Sky. The Vikings have 3 losses by 2 points. I'm sure you know that very well. And as I look at the stat sheet, Vikings shooting the ball pretty well, shooting the ball better as the season progresses. Last week, quite a few turnovers, more than normal. Is that maybe influenced a little bit by the fact that Matt Hauser's not available, or maybe what is impacting that part of the game?
You know, I thought Sac State was just kind of one of those nights where we just couldn't get a handle on the ball, couldn't get our timing right, and the turnovers really stacked up. And with all that said, I looked up at the clock, and 4.5 minutes on the clock, and we have a chance to cut it to 6 or 5. So, and we had 25 turnovers in that game. So I thought Thursday was a little unusual at Sac for us. NAU's playing good ball. They had just gotten done winning 2 on the road at Northern Colorado and at Southern Utah, and they were well rested. They hadn't played all week. You know, we had played 2 games on Monday and Thursday leading up to the game with them on Saturday, and they hadn't played a game. So they were going to be fired up and well rested. One of those things I was really wondering and concerned about is whether we were going to run out of gas. Our guys did not run out of gas, and as you saw, we had a shot at the buzzer.
All right. As we take a look at this Thursday night's game, Coach, what do you see is going to be the difference for the Vikings to get a victory this time as opposed to the loss they took up in Missoula?
You know, we got to do a good job with their 2 scores. They're really, Manuel and Pritchett are really scoring the ball well, and they're getting them shots where they should. They're getting them opportunities where they should, and they're cashing in, and that's why they're winning games right now. But we got to handle them. We got to do a good job with them, and then we got to get the ball moved. We got to get it shared. We were really good moving the ball, and we scored a bunch of points at NAU. And the 2 games prior to Sac State, we'd scored 84, 85, and 92, something like that, 83 and 92. So we've been scoring the ball and moving the ball. Sac State was a little bit of an anomaly, but give them credit. You know, they play slow, and they're really good at home defensively. So we got to get the ball moving. We got to get up and down the floor. We got to use our depth. I think we have good depth versus them. Whether we have Hauser healthy or not, we still have good depth, and our guys have really been producing.
All right, there it is, the Vikings this Thursday night right here in Viking Pavilion, hosting defending Big Sky champion University of Montana, 7 p.m. You can watch the game on 11 Sports. You can watch it on Pluto TV, but we would love to have you come right down here and watch the Vikings in person. For all the information on Vikings basketball, go to govikes.com.